Sorry, you just don't get the last note, apparently. I just said no to that. Okay. Hello. How's everyone going? So interesting thing happened today because I told my colleague as I was driving the work truck home and I was going to like drop her off. I said, I think I'm going to cancel my stream tonight. I don't have anything I want to talk about. I don't have anyone lined up to come on the podcast. I'm just not feeling it tonight. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And she was like, you know what? Good for you. She's like, also, your stream sounds exhausting. Just talking for hours. And I was like, yeah. So what? Very different people. Anyways, I turned on the radio because I don't listen to, I like don't get the news, obviously, like when I'm doing my job. And it's supposed to be like local news, and there's like some local drama that I've been following. So I was like getting amped up for like the evening update in regards to that. And instead, they start talking about the CMA blocking the Microsoft Activision acquisition. And so I was like, whoa, this happened like really suddenly. Like I know it's been going on since September, but to me it happened really suddenly because I was just thinking about this the other day and I was like, it's so funny that they haven't like made a decision yet and yada, yada, yada. And then out of nowhere it comes out that bam, we're not doing it. And it was supposed to go through everything leading up to it. They were saying it was going to go through. Everyone was saying it's going to go through. There's no way they're not going to allow it. The arguments are too weak. So what I heard on the radio, at first I'm just like driving. I'm like, what the frick? And then I hear on the radio and, you know, like it's like a busy road that I have to drive on. So I'm like in old lady mode where you're kind of like leaning forward a bit in like your pickup truck and you got both hands on the steering wheel and you're like making sure like no kooky crazy person drives into you because they try and do that consistently. I swear they see like a work truck and they're like drive into it. And actually I had the panel van today, so I was even more like a little bit more stressed because it's very big. It's basically like as wide as the lane and way too long. Anyways, the guy on the news announces, he's like, they're blocking it because of Call of Duty. And I was like, what? I was like, that don't sound right. Also, I was like, I'm sure this random city TV news guy does not know what he's talking about in regards to video games. I was like, no shade to him. I'm sure he's lovely. He's given me great updates on other things. I was like, he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to video games. Because immediately all I thought, and they're saying things like, look, like part of the problem is like, it's gonna be too much of an exclusive. They're gonna only put it on the Xbox. This is gonna be the problem with Call of Duty. No, immediately that is not a monopoly on any sort of market. Think about all the other shooters you can just right now. I'm going to list off the ones that I can think of, and I'm sure some of them are exclusives, and I'm sorry if they are. Apex Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, Battlefield, Titanfall, the Halo series, Gears of War, which is technically a third person, and so is Fortnite, but we'll allow it. There's more. That's like took me 2 seconds, right? Okay, probably closer to 5 seconds. There's all the examples that I can think of another shooter that you could play as an alternative to Call of Duty. And the argument is that Call of Duty will be an exclusive, despite the fact that Microsoft offered a 10-year roadmap. 10 years of we're not going to be making an exclusive, at least. And I don't think Microsoft would make an exclusive past that. They just want it on Game Pass. So I got home and I Googled it because I was like, this can't be what the actual reason is. It's not. Holy crap, it's worse. It is so much worse in my opinion. So I'm actually on the official UK government website. You can't see it. Hold on. I'm on the official UK government website, okay? I was like, I'm going to find the press release and I'm going to dig because nobody's going to be talking about this in the way that I want to talk about it. And what I mean by that is just the articles will not have been written correctly. That was rude. But it's the truth. It doesn't matter. It does, but I'm not going to worry about it. So Microsoft Activision deal prevented to protect the innovation and choice in cloud gaming. They decided, thank you for the hydrate. I'll do that right now. I have a very full Coke Zero glass next to me that I'm scared to move because I'm like angry and I'm just going to start waving it around. They decided to block the deal based on this thing. I'm waiting. Yeah, the cloud gaming market. Like, I don't know, whatever the hell they think it is. To protect innovation and choice in cloud gaming. The CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. What the fuck is cloud gaming? Cloud gaming is PlayStation Now, it's the Xbox Game Pass, and it's formerly Google Stadia. It's, yeah, can't wait to play COD on Stadia. Stadia is dead. Like, Google nixed it. Google said, no, this isn't a good idea. Because the thing is we don't actually know, we don't know. I'm not going to make the assumption that everyone here doesn't know. Does anyone in chat know the breakdown? Like, is something like Google, like, not Google, is something like Microsoft Game Pass profitable? Is something like PlayStation Now profitable? If any of them are profitable, I would guess it's Game Pass is making them money. Sony has not launched the numbers for theirs, but they launched Microsoft numbers. They told us all of Microsoft's numbers. They haven't told us their own numbers. Game Pass is profitable, but cloud gaming makes up a small player base. Yeah, this is what I'm really struggling with, is the cloud gaming itself is not utilized that much. Because one, nobody really wants to play games on their phones. Like, I'm sure if they have to, they will. But when you like download it, most people are downloading games. Yeah, it's too new. And I remember when this all first came out and everyone was like, "Ooh, it's going to be like the Netflix of gaming or whatever." We still haven't caught up. It's like, it's going to take forever to catch up on that. Because developers would have to completely remake and optimize correctly the games that they're making. They would have to optimize correctly, which I don't know if they're ever going to do at this point ever again. It feels like they aren't. Why do we have 50 million gigabyte games? Yeah, the UK, like, and to me, this is another thing that really boggles my mind. Why does the UK have the power to decide that this doesn't go through when these are US-based companies? This one really lost me. Like, I was Googling on this starting now screen. I was like sitting here going, does this block it? And yeah, it blocks it. They just don't get it now. Why is this a decision that they get to make? I know that Microsoft is going to appeal, but come on. Kelly, I do agree. Yeah, I think, like, so it's probably profitable for Microsoft no matter what. And from what I understand, they do pay like a good amount to developers to have them on Game Pass, but it really does depend on how much you play and how many games you play. I play games all the time on Game Pass. I'm uninstalling and reinstalling constantly. Like, I'm a little kooky gamer, so Game Pass is worth it for me. This is the innovation of cloud gaming. Once the tech is well in place, it'll take a generation for it to fully switch. Kids who didn't grow up with games run local. I agree that it'll take like a long time for like people to switch in terms of like a whole generation. My dad does cloud gaming all the frickin' time. He's like, oh, it's on PlayStation Now. It means that I can try it out without downloading it. He loves it. He thinks it's fantastic. He doesn't play like fighting games. The only games he will not play cloud-based are racing games because he claims he needs like a better reaction. Like, he needs like the less latency. So that's kind of cute, but they do business in the UK, so Microsoft appeal and win, or lose and drop the deal, or just move their businesses just out of the UK. I think they need to, hello, Jack. I think they need to, they have to appeal this. This is ridiculous. This is so upsetting. Like, genuinely, I'm frustrated by this. There's no way that this should be a thing in the way that this is all playing out. With Spotify, you need to listen to Spotify for 6+ hours a day every day for it to be worth the membership each month. That's insane. I've never heard the breakdown of Spotify. I would never pay for Spotify after hearing that. That's not me. Every country Microsoft operates in has to approve the deal, but the three big are the EU, the UK, and the US. If those three decline it, Microsoft is fucked. Oh, that's okay. Hooray, this is all great. Okay, so looking at this is what's frustrating me, right? Is like the argument of the cloud gaming, which by the way is the worst argument I've ever heard. The US it's in August. We have to wait until August to know? Polo, you've just like completely ruined my life right now. Everyone come back in August. We'll finish the stream in August. Son of a bitch. They pushed it back because Sony took... Why is Sony in court with Microsoft right now? What's happening? How did I miss this? When did that happen? It's the island headquarter they all want to have because of the corporate tax base being so low, and now it's biting them here. Okay. What is this? That's great, BBC. You know, the BBC probably has an R8 write-up on it. Whatever. Okay, Sony accuses Microsoft of harassment in court battle. I don't like Kotaku, but we're gonna take a gander anyways. PlayStation says requests for certain documentation goes so far that it's obvious harassment. Wow, how dare they ask for documentation? Oh no. I hate it here. Okay, Microsoft's solution. So I've read through this, but we'll go through some of it together because it's really not that long. It's quite a concise press release. The decision to prevent the deal comes from Microsoft's proposed solution comes after Microsoft's proposed solution failed to effectively address the concerns in the cloud gaming sector, outlined in the Competition and Market Authorities, or CMA, provisional findings published in February. Microsoft entered into a $68.7 billion deal to buy Activision. That's actually like insane how much Activision is worth, by the way. I know they like make a lot of good games, but this is kooky. One of the most popular video game publishers in the world in January 2022. The CMA launched an in-depth review of the deal in September 2022, and in February 2023 provisionally found that the merger could make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, stifling competition in this growing market. It's really interesting to me that it says like in February 2023, this is what we provisionally found, because every single article I read in February and March was saying it's going to go through. Everyone was looking at it going, there's no way they're going to block it, because the main argument coming from Sony was that this would make Microsoft a monopoly. But then Sony went and kept blacklisting Microsoft from these games that were timed exclusives for Sony. And now all of a sudden never came to the Xbox. They were just on the PlayStation forever. Like they didn't. It bought. This is why I have anger issues. Hello, Obsidian. Welcome in. Like, this is it. This Microsoft and Sony Microsoft and Activision thing is why I have anger problems, okay? I know the solution. By the way. Microsoft needs to offer to purchase Sony. This will solve everything. I don't think they should, by the way, but I still think like the competition is absolutely toxic in the gaming industry, and this isn't helping anyone. This isn't a good example of like having like choice in a market that's good. The only way to make a cloud gaming like service, by the way, I I I have not looked into how much it would cost to start one up. I can't imagine it's cheap by any means. You need to have the servers to run it. You need to have the rights to video games, which, like, how are you going to get that without an insane amount of capital? And then you need to have, like, enough people talking about it to get enough subscribers. And it has to be reliable enough from day one that you're not going to chase away all of your subscribers. How do you start one of these up? Why is Microsoft... Hi, Kat. Welcome in. Why is Microsoft having the ability to, like... Why is them having a good cloud-based gaming service preventing everyone else from making one? You don't have the capital for it. Get over yourself. I think it's hilarious that Sony's cloud gaming is on Microsoft's Azure cloud service. Are you serious? I'm not saying Microsoft should do this. Okay. Here's if everything fails, if all of the appeals fail, if they can't get that Activision acquired, if I was Microsoft, and this is just me being petty and vindictive in this case, if I was Microsoft, I would cancel that deal. I'd tell them to get the fuck off my cloud services. I would say, fine, you don't want us to have Call of Duty? Now you don't have a cloud service. Get fucked, kids. Like, I'm gonna have a breakdown over this. There are other reasons, by the way, to have a concern over cloud gaming, right? As I'm reading this cloud gaming concerns thing. And this thing that I would think that a government would have a concern over is the fact that a kid could have an account that is like, say, the parent's account or whatever, right? A kid could have an account, and we have all these ESRB ratings. Why do we have them if we're just letting kids run around and play Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row all the time? What's going on? I'm not saying whether a kid should or should not play those games. It's not my place to say. It's the parent's place. But hello? Yeah, and the main concern is ownership of the games. Absolutely. Because you're only buying... Nowadays, we're only buying the rights to play a game. We're not actually buying the game itself. No, Karen Dita, I'm not saying one company is consumer friendly and one isn't. I'm just saying I'm super fucking pissed at Sony because the way that they drag and dug their heels in here, I don't... And then they turned around and made those games like PlayStation exclusive. That to me is just like absolute bananas. I hate it. Anyways, UK cloud gaming market is growing fast. Sure, between like two companies. Sure, whatever you say. CMA, I don't care. Say whatever you want at this point. Monthly users active in the UK more than tripled from the start of 2021 to the end of 2022. It is forecasted to be worth up to 11 billion globally and 1 billion in the UK by 2026. By way of comparison, sales of recorded music in the UK in 2021 amounted to 1.1 billion. This feels disingenuous to me because we're not including physical sales of games either or digital sales of games. We're just saying the cloud gaming industry compared to the music industry. Why are we comparing it to the music industry? What's happened? What happened? Yeah, notice they say tripled and not the actual numbers. Tripled from what, 10 people? That's the point. They're using disingenuous language to make their little sales pitch of why they blocked it so much better. What? And also, a forecast of worth is not worth itself. And they seem to be ignoring the fact that we're just headed into basically like a global recession and people are going to start eventually cutting ties and cutting things. And also cloud cloud gaming cloud gaming is a really affordable way for people to play games. I know I just mentioned recession and now I'm saying it's actually really affordable, but it is, because if I play like one game every 3 months, if I play one game every like 4 months, I think it is, or 3 months. I did the math one time. I've paid for my subscription. So I only have to play 4 games in a year. Now those are AAA titles, but I only have to play 4 AAA titles in a year, and I paid for my whole Game Pass subscription. It's a very affordable way for people to play games when we're entering something like a recession. No, you don't own the game in quotations, but you still have access to a great library, and games are a form of escapism for a lot of people when they're going through hard times. This whole paragraph is a hot mess. Microsoft has a strong position in cloud gaming services, and the evidence available to the CMA showed that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own cloud gaming service. Yes, you're not wrong. They also gave a 10-year roadmap to competitors, which Nintendo signed off on, and said, we will not make these exclusive. Like, we don't want them to be exclusive. Perhaps, yes, it would be exclusive to its cloud gaming service, but it could still be available on the PlayStation. It could still be available on Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't care at all about cloud gaming at this point. They don't care at all. But it's my understanding that Microsoft said they literally are not going to make this exclusive to anything. They just want to have it on their gaming service. Think about how much money Microsoft would save. I know it's a $61 billion deal, okay? I know it's a huge deal, but they would save money while also making money off of the deal, if that makes sense, because they're going to be bringing in the profits from Activision, and then they're going to not have to pay for any of the rights to any Activision game for Game Pass. Hello? That's an incredible deal. They already signed a deal with NVIDIA Cloud to bring every Microsoft exclusive game to their service, which is the only other real cloud gaming service. I don't know. Jolo, don't ask me. People are idiots, apparently. Everyone's being stupid in this situation, it feels like. None of this makes sense. Microsoft already accounts for an estimated 60 to 70% of global cloud gaming services and has other important strengths in cloud gaming from owning Xbox, the leading PC operating system Windows, and a global cloud computing infrastructure, Azure and Xbox Cloud Gaming. Yes, okay, none of this is incorrect. However, owning Xbox isn't really a flex, and I don't mean that as a dig towards Microsoft, because I really like the Xbox consoles and I still support them. But owning like Xbox as a whole isn't like you're doing amazing. It's kind of like, well, maybe you're breaking even and you just have a goofy looking console on the side. So that's not a flex, first of all. Owning PC, like there's 3 sort of groupings of operating systems. There's Windows, there's Mac. And Mac just doesn't play nice with others, which is why they don't get video games, because it's not their intent. Their intent is to be basically a professional system, not a gaming system. And then you have Linux. And Linux is just a bunch of hackers sitting in the corner doing nothing. Hello? Yeah, it's not Microsoft's fault that no one makes games for Mac. Exactly. Yeah, it is Apple's own fault. And it reminds me of, now, PlayStation 3 was so big that you had to make games for it, but the PlayStation 3 was kind of one of the worst things to, like, code for ever. They said that. Like, lots of people came out and said, PlayStation 3 is egregious. Like, we don't want to work with the system at all, but they did because they had to. Because a lot of gamers were there. If enough gamers moved to Mac and demanded it, people would code for Mac. I'm a primary Linux user. Good to know. Good to know how you feel. Listen, I'm not against Linux users. It's just Linux has always frustrated me anytime I've used it. So I stopped using it and I just went back to Microsoft. I just don't, all the partitions and doing all this kooky things. I was not about it, Kieran. But if you know what, if you thrive on Linux, I'm happy for you. And then Azure and Cloud Xbox Gaming, well, as pointed out by Jolo, Azure is a Sony thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Linux is getting a lot better. Yeah, because they started supporting it. Like Steam and other companies started supporting the platform, and that's all that needs to happen. It's not entirely up to Microsoft to start supporting other systems. That's not their job necessarily. That can be other people's jobs too, you know? Like, it's not, don't put the whole gaming industry on their shoulders. That's not fair. It's just not fair. The deal would reinforce Microsoft's advantage in the market by giving it control over important gaming content such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. The evidence available to the CMA indicates that absent the merger, Activision would start providing games via cloud platforms in the foreseeable future. You're literally making the decision. This is another part where they make... So this is now... They're just making a hypothesis that Activision will at some point do a cloud platform, that Activision will at some point invest into this, that Activision will at some point sell to a company the rights to their games. We have nothing. We have no evidence of this. Activision has never stepped foot towards a cloud platform, and they probably wouldn't for a long time, at least not on things like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft, because these are all IPs that sell really well. Why would you put that on a cloud platform ever? Why would you put World of Warcraft, which takes a lot of money to develop, why would you just slap that up on something and then make people pay an extra subscription anyways? What's the point? I guess to get more people, right? Like they have been failing recently, but I think there's an odd double standard. While Microsoft is huge, I think if Sony had paid $69 billion for Activision, this would have gone right through, even though Sony would have definitely made everything exclusive and they own a substantial market share. Absolutely, absolutely they would have. And we have evidence for this because there have been other mergers that maybe are not to this scale, but there's been enough of them that Sony owns. Do not kid yourself. Sony owns a huge portion of the gaming industry. Huge portion. Like, I don't know if we can find this easily. How much of the gaming and how much the gaming chair? Okay. How much of the gaming industry does Sony own? Sony continues to lead the global console market. That's the console market. They have 45% share. That's fine. That's great. What does Sony own in the gaming industry? This would give us an idea, but this would actually take a really long time to dig through, probably. Maybe not as awful as I think. First party PlayStation Studios. Like, hello? Can we look at all... Like, this is a lot. Okay, they closed a bunch, but... Yeah, if you look, though... Maybe we can get better answers with how many PlayStation exclusive games. There were over 280 exclusive first and third-party titles on PlayStation in 2021, nearly 5 times as many as Xbox. 5 times. But no, Sony doesn't own enough. Sony doesn't have everything that they want, so they're gonna fight this. And the issue is, and despite the fact that Sony has other industries that it has like it's dipped its toes into, because it's not so much of a household name as Microsoft, because everybody owns a Microsoft PC, everybody owns one for the most part. We just don't talk about it. Like, that's all it is. Microsoft is a household name and Sony's not, so Sony's gonna cry about it. I miss the Dreamcast, me too. Karen D, I miss the Dreamcast every day of my life. It's one of the greatest consoles of all time. Okay, like the game's aged really poorly, but it's a great console. The cloud allows UK gamers to avoid buying expensive gaming consoles and PCs and give them much more flexibility and choice as to how they play. Allowing Microsoft to take a strong position in the cloud gaming market just as it begins to grow rapidly would risk undermining the innovation that is crucial to the development of these opportunities. I'm going to tell you something, CMA. I'm going to tell you. The only reason why cloud gaming exists and its current state is because of Microsoft. The cloud gaming took off when Microsoft announced the Game Pass, announced that they were bringing Halo to the PC, no longer making it a console exclusive, mind you, announced that they were bringing it to the PC, and announced that, hey, if you buy one game here, maybe you can have it on both systems. Would you like that? Yeah, literally months after the next biggest cloud gaming service died a death. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Google Stadia was a complete failure. And I don't know if you guys saw, I felt so bad for this guy. There was a guy who was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on Google Stadia. And he had like hundreds of hours in the game or something. And there was no way to transfer his save file. So he just lost it when Google Stadia went down. Like, just lost it. Completely gone. I think about that man sometimes. And this is actually what confuses me. The cloud allows UK gamers to avoid buying expensive gaming consoles and PCs. Does it though? Does it? Because most people using things like, hi Joey, welcome in. Most people using things like Game Pass are not playing it on their phone. And there's a very limited amount that's on your phone. It's mostly to download. Stop trying to make cloud gaming happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, you cloud game on Game Pass on your Steam Deck 3 to 4 times a week. There you go. How do you like your Steam Deck? I've looked at them, but they look clunky to me. I'm not sure I'm 100% sold yet. Okay, so Microsoft did propose a remedy, and so this is what we'll get into next. Microsoft submitted a proposal to address some of these concerns, which the CMA examined in considerable depth. The proposed remedy set out requirements governing what games must be offered by Microsoft to what platforms and on what conditions over a 10-year period. Such remedies are described as behavioral because they seek to regulate the behavior of the businesses involved in a merger, requiring them to behave in a way which may be contrary to their commercial incentives. This therefore takes the form of a type of ongoing regulation of the sector, replacing market forces in a growing and dynamic market with mandated regulatory obligations ultimately overseen and enforced by the CMA, in this case at a global level. Microsoft's proposal contained a number of significant shortcomings connected with the growing and fast-moving nature of cloud gaming services. It did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. What do they mean by this? It did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. Are they talking about World of Warcraft? This feels like the only game that I know that does this. Because you can get like Classic, and now you get like what? Like BC, Wrath of the Lich King, Vanilla, and one other. The main game. Like the current game. The Steam Deck gets laggy even though you have a 1 gigabyte per second internet service. Oh. Surely the CMA has to do that research, not Microsoft. You would think. You would think. It is not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. This is where it starts to get really tricky because most games are not coded once again to be on things other than Windows, and that is not Microsoft's fault. If it's not available on Apple, it doesn't go to Apple, and if it's not available on Linux, it doesn't go to Linux. This doesn't magically happen unless you were playing in some sort of browser-based cloud service that could pull in from that. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available as opposed to them being determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition in the market, as would be expected in the absence of the merger. What creativity of competition in the gaming market? Honestly, what one? Because there are like two major companies and that's it. There's Sony and there's Microsoft, and Nintendo's off to the side doing its own weird ass thing half the time that everyone's just kind of staring at and going, well, that was a choice. Oh my Lanta. This is an infuriating read. Listen, that it would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available. This really frustrates me because I read it in one of two ways. One, the terms and conditions being you are only allowed to play the games that are on the streaming service, which in my opinion, you're paying for the streaming service, so they are allowed to control what content is on the streaming service. And if you don't like it, you don't subscribe and you don't pay for it. It's anything like Netflix or Prime or Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever else you're watching. This is not like a new concept and it's widely accepted in other industries. Are you like refusing to let the industry go the way that it's going to go? And then the other one is, I don't actually know if there's another way to read that. These 3 bullet points make zero sense. Zero sense. It's like it's like the CMA doesn't know video games. And I think that actually might be the case here. I just feel like they don't understand the market. They took ages upon ages upon ages to actually get this done. And then they just, nah. Interesting thing is that Game Pass is supposed to have an update soon that will allow you to play all owned games in your Xbox catalog via the cloud, which is quite an interesting thing. That is super interesting, actually. That's a really good step. You know, it does like remind me. I've talked about this in the past. I loved the E3 though, where Microsoft came out and announced backwards compatibility for the Xbox One, even though it wasn't on launch. And they were like, look, we're gonna do this, it's gonna take time, bear with us. And Sony, like this awkward man, stumbled out on the Sony stage. Dead ass this happened. And he was like, we're doing the same thing for the PS4. And then left. Sony was caught so off guard by this. And I hate on Sony a lot. I actually don't think Sony is like the worst company ever. I think some of their game franchises look super fun and interesting to play. I don't play a lot of Sony games because I don't want to buy a PlayStation all the time. I just don't buy consoles that much anymore. The only console I use super actively is my Nintendo Switch. Why would I go and buy an Xbox when I'm not even using, I just play Game Pass on my computer all the time. Like, what the heck? I genuinely wish that they would put some more of their games on PC because not most, but some of them are not on PC. They're getting better about it, but like I just couldn't play them for a long time. If anything, these things should be applying to Sony. Given the remedy applies only to a defined set of Activision games, which can be streamed only in a defined set of cloud gaming services, provided they are purchased in a defined set of online stores, there's significant risks of disagreement and conflict between Microsoft and cloud gaming service providers, particularly over a 10-year period in a rapidly changing market. No, I completely disagree. You are concerned about the Activision games. You've lined out that you're concerned about the Activision games, so deal with the Activision games. You've dealt with them. They set parameters. They said what cloud gaming services could buy them, and that would likely include other cloud gaming services that wanted to do it, but not everyone's going to start a cloud gaming service. That's just fact. And then told them that they can purchase the rights to the game. They dealt with it. You wanted to deal with Activision games. You dealt with Activision games. What's the actual issue here? What is the problem? Hello? Accepting Microsoft's remedy would inevitably require some degree of regulatory oversight by the CMA. No. Get your stinky hands out of the video gaming industry. By contrast, preventing the merger would effectively allow market forces to continue to operate and shape the development of cloud gaming without this regulatory intervention. You don't have to watch it. You can just leave it alone, CMA. You can just say, no, we're not going to deal with this. We allowed it. Have a nice life. Get out. Oh my gosh. I'm so fresh. So angry. I'm furious. Sony's stubbornness to not put their games on PC like they think their Nintendo will be the death of. You're not Nintendo, honestly. Like, I saw God of War Ragnarok came out for the PC, but at this point I feel like I've missed so many God of Wars and I'd really like to appreciate it from the beginning, but I also don't want to go play God of War 1 because I think God of War 1 is kind of like kooky, not great looking anymore. So then I don't play God of War Ragnarok, even though I think it's probably actually a really good game. I think what's interesting in this outcome is that it doesn't take into account, probably purposely, that Microsoft offered to put all Blizz games on PS Now. Of course they did. Of course they did, because it literally talks about it right up here. It talks about it right up here. This is the game. Let's be clear. This defined set of Activision games, there are only 3 games they care about because it's the only 3 they've mentioned by name. It is Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. Why they care about World of Warcraft at this point, I have no fucking clue. No clue. No clue. But they do. So World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and Call of Duty. Those are the ones they care about. That's it. And they outlined all those games and said, fine, you care about it, deal with it. Ragnarok is not on PC. They added the first God of War on Steam, but not the new one, unless I'm mistaken. You know, you're probably right. I just remember seeing like God of War and Kratos, and he had a beard and it looked pretty. And I was like, I should play that, but also I'm never going to buy it now. So whatever. You can skip the first 3. The new God of War right before Ragnarok is a good introduction to everything. Yeah, I think you're right, Kieran Dita. I think it's just like a weird part of my brain that wants to like have played them all to appreciate it more. But I'll get over it one day and I'll play the new one, maybe. Or not. I just don't even like story games that much. So maybe I just shouldn't. I should just enjoy watching it. The God of War they put on Steam last year is the good one. I would just start with that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, we'll talk. Just, I don't know. Story games make me feel some type of way. Sorry, I'm very tired. I had a busy day. But this is just... Hello, David. Welcome in. I might genuinely be missing something, but why would Sony care about WoW when it's something that would never come to the PS5? Joey, I think they care... So I don't think they care about World of Warcraft. I think the CMA cares about World of Warcraft, and probably the reason why is because World of Warcraft was such a cultural phenomenon. Like, okay, hold on. World of Warcraft... there's this really old thing that I used to look at, and someone like compiled all of the subscriber numbers for World of Warcraft. This is it, I think, from 2015 to 2023 in millions. Now some of these, this isn't even at peak, I don't think. I don't think Cataclysm was 2015. Cataclysm was 2010. Okay, so at peak, World of Warcraft had something like 12 million people, if I remember correctly. This might be this will sort of have it covered. We're just gonna ignore what Yahoo's talking about. Some garbage. This is when they started, which they talk about, like they sold out immediately. They had to launch new servers. There's a really, really interesting documentary. If anyone is ever interested, it's actually Blizzard made it themselves, though. It was like celebrating 10 years of World of Warcraft. So it was very interesting. And then right around, so Q4 right here, they almost hit 12.5 million. I think they hit 12 million subscribers right as Cataclysm happened. Cataclysm was hot trash, by the way. Like, it was so awful. This was the beginning of the end for World of Warcraft. Cataclysm was garbage. Hot, steaming pile of trash. Super interesting how they did it. Super interesting. So in this documentary that I mentioned, they talk about and they break down how they did Cataclysm and how Cataclysm was actually very nerve-wracking for them, because Cataclysm was, they wanted to recreate the world. but they didn't have time to take the whole world down and then put up a new one and then also test it, right? Like, so they didn't have the capabilities at the time to have a separate world running so that they could test it on top of this world. So what they did, Damien, hello, welcome in. What they did is they put the world, the Cataclysm world, on top of the old world and just launched it. They didn't test it. There was no beta testing. They literally put their hands up in the air and said, this might not work. And they had every single engineer on that night for the launch of Cataclysm because they were so stressed out that the world was going to crash. And they would have ruined everything at that point. They didn't have a save anywhere. They didn't have a backup. They were like, we might have just completely fucked over all of our code. It's the most interesting and wild, kooky thing that they've ever done for a trash expansion. So it is what it is. I don't know. Yeah, I do remember there was discussion about a World of Warcraft like console version, and there was actually a guy who modded World of Warcraft to be played like almost like an RPG. Like he had a group of mods that you could download and use. One of them added voice acting to it. One of them would zoom in, like it had a more dynamic camera for like almost like RPG when you're talking to quest givers. And then the last one was how to like keybind it for controller. So you can actually in theory play it with a controller, just not many people do. I think they could pull off Lie Pie, by the way. Welcome in. I don't think I said hello. I hope you're doing well. I don't think they could like do World of Warcraft on a console unless they did a like major overhaul to many classes. Because even like I remember playing like Warrior is literally just like Prot Warrior at one point was just like slamming your fingers against the keyboard, like slamming your head against the keyboard, and sometimes you hit the right buttons and sometimes you didn't. And you just called it a day. You know a guy who plays WoW with controller, but he only plays Hunter. Okay, well that makes sense. That's if there's an easy rotation, it would work. And I actually think it would be really cool if World of Warcraft redesigned every single class that way, but they would have to be really careful with how they do it because you want everything to feel unique, and there are so many classes and so many specs that you would have to be very careful. But you could, in theory, have like what? Okay, so you could have like your triggers. So 1, 2 bumpers, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 more buttons. So that's 8 buttons. You have 8 spells, and then, however, maybe you could use the D-pad to flick between like settings. So let's say you do that, and then you could have like up and then a combo of whatever. So you could do 8, 16. You could have 32 spells. You could have 32 spells in total. This is my pitch for World of Warcraft. I think it could work, though. It would definitely be a learning curve for a lot of people. Elemental Shaman had 4 spells. If they completely redesign it and put it on console, I'm like, okay, listen, Joey. If they ever, and I think they're going to I think they're going to do this eventually because I feel like they're slowly re-releasing everything single expansion. When Legion happens, there will be a World of Warcraft Classic Legion version. Play it. Legion is the best version of World of Warcraft, including it beats Vanilla WoW in my opinion. It slams it into the ground and drives a stake through its heart and says, you're done. You're done. Legion has the best storytelling. The zones are impeccable. Like, I know this is super off topic, but the zones are absolutely incredible in Legion. You have like 4 or 5 different zones, and you can pick in whatever order you want to go and do them, in whatever order. And then you go into that one, and then like you like muck around, and you've got like these really cool cutscenes at the end of every single one, including this Illidan cutscene that is so badass. Like the Illidan cutscene just makes me feel some type of way. And they have this Sylvanas and Greymane cutscene, and it's like, oh my gosh, oh my. Anyways, so they have the best storytelling. It is the most immersive. They've never hit their stride since then in storytelling. Like, it actually makes you feel like you're part of the game. But it makes you feel again like a freaking, what is it? Like, you're a random champion. That's my favorite feeling in World of Warcraft. I don't want to feel like a hero. I want to feel like I'm just like some dude who's like out walking around. And they'd be like, what's up? What's up, gamers? So it it makes you feel, I don't know, just like very like not part of the world, which is cool in my opinion. Like, you're not important. You're not relevant because you really aren't. You're not anywhere near as powerful as any of the main characters. So you're not relevant. So Legion was really cool in that way, but then they also had a great legendary system. Now, it was a little RNG and a little frustrating because you had to like roll for everything, right? Like World of Warcraft got like very much like a loot treadmill. They tried to fix a bit of it in Legion, and I feel like they did, and then they backpedaled in the next ones, which was fine. And then the classes felt individual and cool, and prop warriors were badass, and that's what matters. I just want to be a warrior who slams into things. That's my life. They should have ended it with Legion. I would have just played Legion forever, honestly. I wish I could go back and play more Legion because I stopped playing because of some kooky guild people. But I would have I wish I had done all of Legion. It was so cool. So cool. I didn't think they were gonna do classic past Lich King because then they'd have to do Cataclysm and everyone would quit. I mean, maybe. Honestly, maybe. Okay, Jolo, have a wonderful night. Please sleep well. I hope you do great. Yes, I'll absolutely riot with you in spirit because I'll be at work, but in spirit I'll be rioting. So just send me updates. Was Legion the one with the city and the guys who always said, "Was that an illusion?" I have no idea. I have no idea. What are you talking about? Was that an illusion, World of Warcraft? Hold on. I don't know if we can find it. Oh, no, I think it...
An illusion? What are you hiding?
You're talking about this?
An illusion? What are you hiding? Something's not quite...
It was, by the way. I think Legion was the release of Mythic Plus, yeah. Mythic Plus completely changed it. Yeah. An illusion. What are you hiding? Yeah. Okay, honestly, same. I blanked it out from my mind. I had to do that so many times. That was the one thing I hate about World of Warcraft is the dailies, and I'll just like, my eyes glaze over when it comes to dailies, which is awful because I usually main tanked or off tanked, so... You don't want to see that. You don't want to see your tank showing up going, I've done none of my dailies for the past 2 weeks. Because I haven't. They freaking suck. Okay, so they have one last section. It's considering the potential benefits of the merger, which I just have no faith in any of them. I'm going to pick up Marvel Snap, Ashley. I'm going to try it very soon. The CMA carefully considered whether the benefits of having Activision's content available on Game Pass outweighed the harm that the merger would cause to competition in cloud gaming in the UK. The CMA found that this new payment option, while beneficial to some customers, would not outweigh the overall harm to competition and ultimately UK gamers arising from this merger, particularly given the incentive for Microsoft to increase the cost of a Game Pass subscription post-merger to reflect the addition of Activision's valuable games. What? They literally said we won't give it to you because you're going to increase the price. I just need to lay down. I'm so old, I just need to lay down at this point. This is preposterous. Every argument that they've made is either on the basis of not understanding the gaming industry, not understanding a Game Pass at all, and then just like making shit up and saying like, well, they're going to increase price, so we better not. Bro, they're not okay. Martin Coleman, chair of the independent panels of experts conducting this investigation, said, who the frick is Martin Coleman? Martin Coleman, UK. Oh, wait, this is his... Martin Coleman. I'm so angry. Nightmare Queer, they're trying to prevent a monopoly despite the fact that Sony owns more of the gaming industry and Microsoft... I'll give you a recap in just a minute. He looks like Emperor Palpatine phase 1. Maybe he is. Okay, let's see. He was a partner in a law firm. Blah, blah, blah. Do you play video games? Martin Coleman. Well, we don't know from that. So, oh, wait, biography. Oh, I was hoping that was like a personal biography. No, nobody asked for a recap. I can see it. I know it's here. Okay, 30 seconds or less. Jack, I wanted to say on the government's website because this is extremely relevant to gamers and we have a right to be pissed, okay? So the quick recap is essentially Microsoft was attempting to buy Activision, as I'm sure you know. Sony said no and got the CMA involved, and now the CMA has decided that it's over cloud gaming concerns, but they're only listing 3 games that they're actually concerned about, which is Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. I don't know why World of Warcraft is there, and that's how we got onto the World of Warcraft tangent. Basically, they're worried about Call of Duty and Overwatch and will they become exclusive, despite the fact that Microsoft has made a 10-year roadmap that would prevent it from ending up on other cloud-based services. This is ridiculous. They're adding Ubisoft games to Game Pass and they didn't increase the price. They just added a separate monthly fee. They could do that for Blizzard. I completely agree. And don't they have EA for an additional fee as well? They literally just have add-ons. They're basically doing it like Amazon and Prime Video, and the UK doesn't seem to have an issue with that scale. So, like, hello? Hello? And they're arguing that the cloud-based services, like, are going to be hindered if they give them Activision Blizzard because other people won't have room for growth. And it's like, random-ass Joes are not making a cloud-based gaming service. It would cost millions of capital. It would cost millions of capital. It sounds like Sony's just being a little bitch and said, wait, they're going to be more competitive. Stop this. Absolutely, they are. From a very quick Google, you can know that Sony has like 45% of the gaming market. 45%. They have 5 times as many exclusives as Microsoft does. 5 times. Curious. Okay, sorry, we're back to the benefits of the merger. Gaming is the UK's largest entertainment sector. It's the largest global sector, but it's fine. Like the largest entertainment globally is what I mean. I don't. It's fine. Cloud gaming is growing fast with the potential to change gaming by altering the way games are played, freeing people from the need to rely on expensive consoles and gaming PCs and giving them more choice over how and where they play games. This means that it is vital that we protect competition in this emerging and exciting market. Here's the problem with that. 1, most people don't play cloud on Game Pass, which is the only large cloud gaming service because Google Stadia literally shut down and PlayStation Now is only on the PlayStation consoles, okay? That's issue number 1. People don't play it on the cloud. Issue number 2 is people still buy expensive consoles and gaming PCs to play these games because a lot of the games are not available on a mobile format. So you still have to buy the expensive console. The Xbox Series S is not a cheap console and it has worse specs than the Xbox Series X. The idea was it was the ultimate streaming entertainment like home console or whatever, which is a great idea, by the way. I fully support it, but they took away too many important specs to make it worth it for gamers. Sony was behind the 8 ball on cloud gaming and Game Pass subs. Sounds like this is their way of holding Microsoft back so they can catch up. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree. And you know what? Sony's just probably not going to catch up because this is not Sony's primary objective right now. Sony has the grip on the consoles. Stay making consoles, stay making exclusives then. Keep at what you know how to do best. Microsoft is completely shifting. Microsoft is shifting towards this, and we know this because hold on. I don't know how to find this article. It's a really good Forbes article. I talk about it all the time. Okay, Forbes, what will I Google? Forbes Xbox Game Pass article. Blah, blah, blah. This might be it. Why does it want you to read Alberta News? I have no idea. It literally just said, I don't know. Oh, this no, this is it. This is it. But this is okay. Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5. Microsoft has one pretty huge advantage over Sony. This Eric Kane article is one of the best gaming articles I've ever read, by the way, and it was published by Forbes of all people. This is when Forbes was not posting a lot of gaming content, and they literally said, what if we approach gaming from a different perspective, though? This is super interesting. Basically, his whole argument is that Xbox Game Pass the less powerful Xbox Series S, but there could also be an even cheaper unit that forgoes a physical disk drive and comes as part of a Game Pass contract deal. If Microsoft is essentially to give these cheaper units away as part of a 2-year Game Pass Ultimate subscription, that would be yet another huge advantage over Sony, bringing tons of budget-conscious gamers into the Xbox fold. He had ideas that Xbox has never even used for Game Pass. It's a super interesting article. It's one of my favorite articles ever that I've read. And it just talks about like how Game Pass is basically where Microsoft is going to win if they win anything at all. And I don't know what they would win. Anyways. Microsoft already enjoys a powerful position and head start over other competitors in cloud gaming, and this deal would strengthen that advantage, giving it the ability to undermine new and innovative competitors. Yes, they have a head start in the gaming, cloud gaming, because they literally helped make it a thing. Google Stadia was fine, but Xbox came out and said, once again, you can have Halo for the first time on PC. If you buy a game on PC, you also will get it on Xbox, provided they're on both platforms, and vice versa. They have so many just like ways to jump ahead in this field. And you know what? Rightfully so at this point. They are spending money on this console that loses the money almost every generation. They're just like funneling money into the Xbox, and it's never been a thing. It's never been a thing. Of course, you made a one-cost swarm deck. I'm not even surprised that Ashley's playing like super aggressive. This is what it is. Microsoft engaged constructively with us to try to address these issues, and we are grateful for that. Thank you, Nightmare Queer. And we are grateful for that. But their proposals were not effective to remedy our concerns and would have replaced competition with ineffective regulation in a new and dynamic market. How is it an ineffective regulation? Which, by the way, it doesn't have to even be a regulation. Like, you can literally just let this happen, CMA. You don't have to be involved with everything. It's not. Okay. Here's why I have an issue. Among very many. Like, I just have issues. I just have life issues. Sony needs... Next time Sony goes to acquire a company, every single point that has been here used against Microsoft needs to be used against Sony. Well, they're going to only put it on PlayStation now. They're not going to allow it to go on anything else. Full stop. Microsoft and Sony can't buy other companies anymore. I'm done. I'm done. If this is the path you want to go down, Microsoft and Sony can't buy gaming companies anymore. That's it. All they have is all they have. And if they want new games, they have to make the companies themselves and like form them and make them a sub whatever of their current little crappy little poopy poop thing. Cloud gaming needs a free competitive market to drive innovation and choice that is best achieved by allowing the current competitive dynamics and cloud gaming to continue to do their job. The problem is there is no current competitive dynamics in cloud gaming because the only good cloud gaming service is Game Pass. Good night. Like, good, honestly, like, what the hell is that? Gosh darn. I feel like I've basically just been yelling at you guys the whole time. And like my voice just like hurts now. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, that's how it feels, Nightmare Queer. I like how Ashley's like, okay, so we're going to keep streaming now and we're going to play some Mobile Dogs and we're going to play some Marvel Snap and we're going to do something like this. You could play Deep Rock Galactic. I would be embarrassed to show you guys how I play Deep Rock Galactic by myself, I think. Maybe it's wrong to say that, but I feel like that's how I would feel. Want to play WoW? No, of course I don't want to play WoW. You know that. Okay, let me stop my Audacity recording, which is literally me just screaming, so I'm probably never even going to use it. Save project. CMA is stupid ass. That's a good project name. What is your username for? Megan, excellent question. It just is. Someone told me to use it and I said, all right. And then we moved on from there. So, what is your username for? Huh? No, I'm kidding. Welcome in. Hope you're doing great. Okay. Oh, I have to play an Activision Blizzard game. I have to? Okay. Here's why we're not going to is because all of the things would dox me. Actually, like everything, because like everybody's full name is displayed in my family on my Blizzard games. I don't think that's a wise decision. Your screaming is excellent background noise to my knitting. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Okay, I do need a better origin story. Kirandita, if you can come up with one for me, please let me know. Otherwise, this is what we're doing. This is what we're living with. No, you know what? You know what? Screw you guys. I'm not playing games for you. I'm not playing games for you tonight. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because I have gotten home at like, super late every single day this week. I'm so tired. I'm like running on fumes. I'm going to go take time for myself. I almost canceled tonight's stream. I'm going to go take time for myself. I have to. I have to, gamers. I have been out for like 12 or 13 hours almost every single day. And I'm just like, I'm done. I have to get up and go early to the shop tomorrow. So I'm going to be out for another probably like 12, 13 hours tomorrow. I actually am just so physically exhausted. Otherwise I would play games, and I'm sorry because I feel like I am letting people down, but I'm not going to think of it that way. Like a cheesecake. Kirandita, my me days are not very great. I like deep clean. But I really need to just like go like sit down and be tired. Before you go. No, I don't have an announcement. Sorry. I thought I did. I was like, do I have something to say? No. Let's go here. We're going to go here also though, because this person, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. We're going to say it anyways. This person's coming on my podcast soon. So we're going to go here. Don't use that raid message. That's so old. That's so old. Please don't use it. This person's coming on my podcast soon. I don't have a date. I don't have a date for it, but we're going to talk about independent games. So that's it. I'll let you know when I do have a date. I have a couple great people lined up actually. And if anybody knows anyone, either a developer or a content creator that they want me to reach out to for a podcast episode, please let me know because I need to find more guests because I'm running out of people I know to just forced to come on to this. Ashley did already pitch mine and I did follow up on it. So yeah, I'll contact the Wobble Dog developers. Absolutely. Oh, David will come back. Perfect. All right, David. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to send you guys away now. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope you had a wonderful night. So, goodbye.